Now let's take it back a little bit. What type of student were you in school?
I was valedictorian. I graduated when I was 16 years old. I was a teacher's pet, honestly. I always raised my hand for everything. I always tried to finish everything fast. I always tried to, make sure I made 100 in class. Like, I made a B one time and I started crying real bad. Like, that was just me. I was always, like, on it.
So you graduated high school at 16?
Yes.
Now, did you pursue education?
After I graduated 16, I moved to my own apartment. I moved my little sister in with me, and I made sure that she finished school, and she graduated valedictorian also. And I kind of got into the street life. I became a dancer. I was a dancer at the time, and it helped me financially, pay for my career from the music side. But to make a long story short, when I was like 18, about to turn 19, I met this guy. He was at the corner store, and he was selling his CDs. And my friends had drove me out the house because I really didn't want to go to the store. I was tired. And I came, he knocked on the window. He was like, hey, I'm selling my CDs, whatever. I didn't want to buy it at first, and then I ended up buying it. And I ended up listening to it, and it sounded really good. And I called the number on the back, and I'm like, I want to get into the music industry. Can you help me? He was like, yeah. We met up. And then the next day, like, we got in the studio. Then, like, maybe like a week later after that, we made my #1 song, and it got me signed to Cash Money, the first song I ever put out. I got signed at the age of 19, and it was just on from there.
But being a valedictorian, I'm just curious, being a valedictorian and graduating, valedictorian's top of the class, were you offered scholarships and so forth for college?
I was, I think I was offered a grant or something like that they was working on giving me. But I think after I got out of school, I felt like I had time to just, get in the real world and kind of like grow up and then like, okay, I'm gonna go back to college, and time kind of just passed along, and, I started really putting my head in my music, and, that kind of took off a little faster to me. So I wasn't really pressed about going to college, but now that my sister and everybody go to college, I'm like, well, maybe I want to go back to college. I feel like I missed something out of my life. So,
So your sister that you helped raise and make sure she was valedictorian, she eventually went to college?
Yeah, she's in college now. Mm-hmm.
Now, what jobs did you have growing up, if any?
Yes, okay, so my first job, I used to work at H-E-B. I used to push the baskets. I used to bag the groceries and stuff. This was when I was like 15. And then once I started working there, I worked at Papacito's, and that was like my favorite job ever. Like, I used to be a hostess, and I was working like 11 in the morning to 11 at night, taking everybody else's shifts, and just working really, really hard because, I had an apartment at 16. I had to take care of myself along with my little sister and make sure that our well-being was okay. So I just had to do what I had to do, and that's what I did.
Now, any crazy customer stories dealing with those jobs?
Crazy customer stories. At that time, I wasn't who I am right now when I was working at those jobs. But I go back to those places, and they be so proud of me, and, they're excited for me, and they support me 100%. So.
Now, what's the worst thing you put your parents through?
The worst thing I put my parents through?
That was a deep breath right there.
I'm trying to see what is the worst thing. I don't know. I don't feel like I put my parents through anything worse at this moment of time. Not anything that they would know, or I don't know. No, I don't think I put my parents through anything the worst. The best, I know that my family is very proud of me, of what I became and the things that I've done, because, I'm the person in my family that support and make sure that everybody else is good and stable. So everybody look up to me, and I have some big shoes to fulfill for my family and I. So I don't want to try to put them through something that they can't handle, or something that's gonna hurt them, because it's gonna hurt me too. So at the end of the day, I try to keep everything, happy.
Now, what's your message to the youth?
My message to the youth would just be, speak less, listen more. a lot of times when we're young, we feel like we know everything. When somebody tell us, we kind of like still bite the bullet. And what I mean when I say that, we still like do the things that people tell us not to do just because we feel like, however we feel. But I would just say, listen more, speak less, and you'll gain more knowledge and wisdom, and don't try to grow up too fast. And always keep people around you who you trust. I think that's very important. And don't always be the smartest person in the room. Yeah.